Hey everybody, Rob here in Bakersfield, California on the Softail Bar Hopper, and welcome to this week's Throwback Thursday. This episode is going to be titled The Slumber Party Fiasco. I was working a one-man unit, the graveyard shift out of Eastern Division. And it's after curfew. We get a radio call that there's a bunch of teenagers hanging out in the park up in the Tierra Santa area, making a bunch of noise. And the call's coming in from the private security guy they got up there. They had their own private security guy that walked around with a dog and gun and everything, fully armed as such. So he was calling us to come up there, I guess, to arrest them kids for trespassing and being out after curfew. Well, I get up there and I meet up with the female officer who is the primary officer for that area, because it's not my beat. And we talk to the security guard, and he tells us where the park is and that there's a bunch of kids up there messing around. So we go walking up there in the dark, sneaking up on them, see what we could get, figuring we got a bunch of teenagers up there drinking and smoking pot and fooling around. When we get up there, we can hear a bunch of what sounds like a bunch of little girls screaming and hollering and laughing and having fun. Well, I got my big flashlight in my hand, and so does the female officer. She's got her flashlight in her hand. We sneak up on them, turn on the flashlight, expecting to find teenagers, and instead we find about a half a dozen little preteen girls up there in their nightgowns playing in the park on the swings and stuff. I mean, none of them could have been over the age of 11 or 12 from what I can recall. So they of course all get scared because the cops have showed up. And we round them all up to find out what was going on. Well, apparently they were all having a slumber party at this one girl's house. And Mom had already gone off to bed, and so they got the bright idea to sneak out of the house and go up and play on the swings and such up at the park. So we all take them back to the house. We get back to the house, front door is wide open. We take them inside and, announce ourselves. We're calling out for Mom. Well, Mom comes downstairs from her bedroom, all pissed off and mad. What are the cops doing here? Blah, blah, blah. So we explained to her, well, we got a call because your kids were out there running around in the park, and it's after curfew, it's dangerous. We had a rapist work in that area up there at that time. They could have very easily ran into him, and that would have been a sad case. So anyways, Mom's all pissed off at us because I don't know, I guess she was embarrassed because her girls had snuck out of the house, and instead of getting on the girls about sneaking out, she turns her embarrassment into anger towards us. Well, we try to get everything all calm. Well, nothing's working out well, so we just end up telling her to keep the kids inside. And that's going to be that. That's the end of that. Well, we thought that was the end of that. The next day, come into work, and the female officer and I get called into the sergeant's office. Turns out Mama had filed a complaint against us. According to her little girl, we had drawn our guns on her and threatened to shoot them and put them out on the ground and handcuffed them and all this other kind of crap, which none of that had happened. So the little girl had made up this whole big lie to get out of trouble and turn the focus off of her and onto us. Mama believed every word that the little girl said and called and filed a complaint against us. So the female officer and I had to explain to the sergeant, no, we never pulled our guns out. We never made them lay down on the ground. We never handcuffed them. And yeah, Mama was a real bitch. And we had left on somewhat bad terms because she wasn't happy. So then they had to get a hold of the private security guard, get his side of the story, because they couldn't just take our word for it. So it took 2 or 3 days for them to finally finish off the investigation, clear me and the female officer of any wrongdoing, and basically tell Mama that her daughter's a goddamn liar. So that's just one of many complaints I had filed against me that were unsubstantiated by people who were doing wrong, and they figure if they throw the focus off of them and onto the officer, then they get out of whatever trouble they're into. Whether Mama ever did anything about it or not, I don't know. Probably not, because her little angel couldn't do any wrong, you know. So anyways, if you liked my story, hit the like button, give me some comments, and come back again next Thursday for another story. Bye-bye.